Hola amigos, welcome to Life for Living Well channel. Please subscribe to keep the channel going. You can also check us out by visiting our website on www.lifeforlivingwell.com. Sit down and enjoy the helpful topic for this week. Hey, welcome back to another episode from Life for Living Well. My name is Richard and I will be your anchor for this week. So let's dive in. But before we start the episode for this week, quickly make an announcement. If you like to know more about Life of Living Well or what Life of Living Well community stand for, represent, or what do they do, you can find out more on our website at www.lifeforlivingwell.com. You'll find all the articles relating to each of these podcasts that we release every week. And if you also want to get some inspiration about what to read or what to buy, you can find this on our website as well. And if any of the books there interest you, please click the link and it will take you to the right page on Amazon. And thank you so much for your time. So let's get diving. So the continuation of the series that we've been doing for the last 7 weeks now. So for this particular 8 weeks, I'm focusing on 2 particular skills that when you look at it, is not just a skill, it's actually virtues. But because you can develop yourself, you can change your character to suit these particular virtues, it becomes skills. Because anything you can learn, anything you can practice, you can easily make it a skills. So I think it's one of these great philosophers that once Socrates that once said that what you do, you become what you do. If it's honesty is what you do, you become honest person. If humility is what you do, you become humble person. If it's kindness is what you do, you become kind person. So you become whatever you choose to do. So, and this is more intentional and being aware of what you want to become. So 10 practical resourceful skills: honesty and humility. They go hand in hand together. That's why I make it a single topic for this week. But before we go elaborate more into this podcast, so we follow the same pattern where I like to introduce this podcast to you, is to take from the inspiration and the quotation of the people that live their life to shaping or reflect the topics that I'm talking about. So let's firstly look into what St. Augustine said about honesty and humility. So what did he say? He said, "Do you wish to rise? Begin by descending. Lay first the foundation of humility." So if you want to find yourself whatever position, it is important to also have the art of service. And the great leaders are the ones that have the art of service. The great individual, people that find themselves in the position of authority, whether they fight to be there or the situation push them there because of the kind of circumstances. What they actually have, they are eagerly to serve. And most people want other people to serve them. So they do everything. They see the position of leadership as absolutely all about power. And they will do everything to amass that power and authority to themselves. But this particular podcast look into, if you also want to arrive or aspire to be on the top, you also have to develop act of service. And to actually develop act of service, it requires a lot of humility here. And most people have a sense of who they think they are. So the pride and the ego is so big that make it difficult for them to serve others. So let's look into second person in history that changed and have impact in his own generation and our own current generation now. So Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson, one of the American pioneers, looking into the honesty and humility, and he come to conclusion. He said, honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom. And it's true, you can't change your life if you don't be honest with you. I've seen a lot of adults that are afraid of darkness, which is knowledge. They are afraid of knowledge. They stick to their opinion, they stick to what they know, and they refuse any other thing about it. You can forgive a child that are afraid of darkness, but it is difficult to understand adults that are afraid of it. But it's not the darkness in intention that I'm talking about, it's the desire to know the truth. Desire to know the truth, because it means that whether you like it or not, you have to take some action. You probably have to change your way so that it can fit into the reality of where you are right now. But you have many people that they will use so many things to do everything to guide against that truth. And the greatest injustice you can do to yourself is to be self-dishonesty. To not be honest about who you are. And if you can opposite that lack confidence, be honest about it. Because the moment you embrace where you are, you will determine to seek for help to develop or improve or support your confidence, your self-esteem. But if you always picture who you are not so other people can accept you, then you are not helping yourself to grow to your strength, to your maximum. So honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom, the way Thomas Jefferson put it. But we cannot actually change our life until we begin to be honest with ourselves. Many people blame other people for all the problems in their life. Other people might contribute to the problems in our life, but they are not responsible for all those problems. So in this podcast this week, you will learn two things. Number one, the benefit of being honest and humble. Number two, how to develop them in your character. So let's dive into it. It is obvious today that virtues such as honesty and humility in the world of competitiveness do not exist. So if you focus on being competitive alone, you only judging or scaling or measure yourself by other people. And there's no way you'll be able to connect to them in a compassionate, in an authenticity way. There's no way you'll be able to collaborate with them because you want to be better than them. And the irony of this is, and the great thing about capitalism is that wherever you go, somebody else's house is always better than yours. Somebody else always have more money than you. Somebody else always have everything look perfect than you. Wherever you go, if you live your life by comparing yourself with other people, then that is kind of game you cannot win, because it's a game of competitiveness. So many times when I go for a run, suddenly I will see someone just try competing with me without having an idea how far I'm going, without having an idea my intention to run that day, whether to run slow or to just take it easy by running and walk, or to run fast or to run distance. If I run distance, I also control my pace so I can cover the distance I want to cover. But somebody just met me just about 3 kilometers to the end of my race, and they are just started and they still have more kilometers to cover, and they started burning those energies, and it just make you amazed how that it happens, especially when you go to races like this and you meet so many people and you have adrenaline rush, and all of a sudden you find yourself competing. And only if you are self-aware of what is going on in your mind, in your thought, you can question and reason with it and use your power of thinking to control that natural instinct of you to compete. And I think the best competition you can do is with yourself. Where were you this time last year? What is your intention the following year? Where were you in terms of your character type, your attitude type, your personality relating with people in your life? Rather than comparing yourself with your neighbor, with your colleagues all the time. So time and time again, the same world has produced both men and women as a servant leader. Many benefits we enjoy in our society today, not all society, but in advanced nations, as a result of visionary king and people of great honesty. If you just look at the world today and you are looking at current many leaders in the world, they appear self-serving, but it's not always like this. Thank God for the history. Thank God for the written down history. There's a people, there's men and women that they serve the world, they serve the community. Their actions save millions of lives. And you also have known of reading or even aware of men and women that their actions destroy lives that they cannot create. Millions of lives. So we both know which one gel well with us. So today, much chaos in the world is partly driven by selfishness, pride, and competitiveness. What about collaboration, cooperation, and service to mankind? Even though honesty and humility are classified as a virtue, but also strongly believe in intentionality to develop it into a skill by taking small steps. Before we arrive at how you can do that, let's quickly see a few benefits of the skills. Number one, authenticity. People that know you, this is what we come across to them. Openness to experience is how you live your life. You don't let fear of unknown gather you. You don't let fear of or lack of understanding cripple you. You open yourself to want to know, to find out. Adaptability, because you have no control of many things that you will experience in life. It is important that you maintain your internal peace. So you focus your energy to what you can control, and you adapt yourself to anything that you have no control over it. Generosity. These people are easy, find generosity. It seems that they find it easy. No, it's because they already experienced that and they know what it means when somebody could look at them and give them a smile, or when somebody can offer them a cup of water. They know how much when they find someone that have a few minutes of their time to talk to. So it's easier for them to become generous because they are more reflective about it. Forgiveness. Oh yes, these people that develop humility and honesty in themselves, they really understand the power of forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't make them weak, make them strong. Gandhi once said that only courageous can forgive, and it's true because almost everybody easily attracted to the lower emotions, to keep score, to have resentment, to have anger toward other people, because people hurt people, and people that hurt, they go around and hurt more people. But when you forgive, you don't join the statistics of people that hurt, because almost everyone hurts someone. And when they don't learn to forgive and move on, they end up going around and hurt more people. So it is important that when you find someone that embraces the energy of honesty and humility, they are also able to forgive, because if they don't, it's easy for arrogance, greediness, pride, entitlement, and anger to creep in. And lastly, accountability and responsibility. This is the people that they take their action, what they need to do, they take it very, very serious, and they follow it judiciously to make it happen. So let's look one of the examples in spiritual realm in the past. The Bible talks about Jesus washing his disciples' feet. Can you imagine that Jesus washing his disciples' feet? Can you imagine that? How many leaders today know the middle name of one of their staff, especially if their position is so low in the organization? Tough, he said, because they have so many things to deal with. No, a service leader is the one that is willing to serve. And it is a symbol that connects a message of service and humility. So what Jesus Christ was doing here is to show the disciples, because whether they like it or not, they're going to have more impact in the world than Christ had the time to do. So in doing that, when you now have, because to whom much is given, much is expected. When you now have the position where you can influence, you can change people's life, you also have a duty of care in this role, that you not just take it for granted. You don't just think that those people that come to you are in your life to serve you, but they are in your life for you to serve them, even though they look up to you. But your job, number one, is to serve them. So Jesus, I believe that is demonstrating this to the disciples, so that they don't get carried away, because they are already in the position of privilege, because they are chosen by him, and they're going to go to the world and spread his gospel, and the people that come through the gospel to them, they become a shepherd that look after it. But they also have to serve them, and that's why democracy claims to be the government of the people, by the people, for the people. But in truly, if you look at it, many people get to the position of political post, they don't normally use that role, that office, to serve the people that elected them there. They are serving themselves. And we know what happens when they find out. They shame, they lose their image, they lose their publicity. They might even end up in jail. Depends on the crime they get themselves involved in. So if you want to know someone really well, give them power and see how quickly they change to something different. Me, I always say, when somebody told me somebody is so kind and sweet, they might be kind of sweet. It's true. But I also know that you don't know anyone. You know a lot about someone when you give them power. You will even know a lot about someone when they have the opportunity to have a mass of wealth or money for themselves. Money and power doesn't actually the one that change them. Is expose what they already have. So the world has abundance for every one of us, but not the greediness of individuals. Let's seek to develop honesty and humility in ourselves. No matter how much you know, study, read, travel, you will still find out yourself that you do not know enough. That alone should humble us. So it is easier to carry the way thinking how old you are, how many qualifications you have. You know everything. You know nothing. It was a great philosopher that once said that at least I'm wise. And they asked him, why do you think you're wise? And he said, because I know nothing. And this is the man that classified that he's so wise, he's so knowledgeable. You read the medicine, you read the book for medicine, you read the book for philosophy, you read the book for democracy. And at the end of the day, he comes to the conclusion that I'm wise because I know that I know nothing. But if you think you know, you only know as far as what you read, what you're exposed to. There's so many things that you don't know. Do you know that people eat very small plates and they still be okay? You don't. Only if you travel and go to different culture and you say it, and then you say, wow, how come I didn't know this? I always find myself amazed, surprised, aware almost every day, because there's always something that took my breath away. Even just activities by birds. So to bring this podcast to conclusion, we live in a world where people value opinion above facts. The fact will humble you if you expose yourself to it. Lastly, how can you develop honesty and humility in yourself? Let your action be congruent with your words. That's it. When somebody asks me that they're trying to reach someone and he doesn't respond and they don't know what they have done. So I always say, okay, don't judge them by what they said, because they might not have enough integrity, or they might lack confidence to actually tell you what you've done. Maybe they are not interested to make a peace with you. But look at their actions. Because our action is no accident. Our action is actually triggered by our thoughts. Our thoughts become our emotions. And when you feel something, you do something. If you want to tell a lie about somebody, see how they spend their money. Because there's nothing more about money than emotions. Money is emotions. It's not just thinking or reason. It's how you feel about it. If you feel like you don't have enough of it, you keep hiding it. You keep keeping it so that you can't even share it with anybody. And if you think like you are unhappy, you are sad, and you use money to just buy things that you don't need so you can feel good about yourself. People do it all the times. So money alone could tell you where somebody is in their life. So lastly, I repeat again, how can you develop honesty and humility in yourself? Let your action be congruent with your words. 2, take a small step every day. Not just today, but start today. Start now. Just take a small step. Always remember your time is limited. If someone is always having it better than you, that should be okay as well. That should be okay, because wherever you are now, that person you're competing with, you are not born at the same time. You didn't come here at the same time, and you have no idea what they may be going through in a few months' time, in a year's time. But you just want everything that they have, so you can have it as well. Give a smile to a stranger. Randomly pay for someone's parking space, or tip in the restaurant. Is that the way you can show service? There's so many ways you can show service. Even listen to someone, you are showing service to them. You are giving something. But don't do it in a way that will be detrimental to your own well-being, mentally, emotionally, financially, physically, psychologically. I hope this message helps someone. And if you like what you hear from this podcast, you can send me an email and tell us how we can improve it more, or any topic that you'd like to hear through this podcast. Drop me a line. I hope you have an amazing week, and please take care of yourself. Thank you. Ciao. From everyone here from Life for Living Well, we say hasta luego, amigos. Thank you for your time this week. May your rest of the week be safe and loving. Please subscribe to our channel to keep it going. And you can find more information on our website by visiting www.lifeforlivingwell.com. Goodbye.